Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast where we're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
And today we have a special guest. Special guest, who are you?
Hey, everyone. I'm Caleb. I'm Caleb Bunn from the Hot Trash Unlimited podcast and Star Wars Therapy. And I'm very excited to be here.
Nice. And speaking of Hot Trash Unlimited, this is kind of a small collaboration a little bit because we're going to talk about a movie that may or may not be considered hot trash. Today we are talking about Jonah, a Veggietales movie from 2002, if I believe.
I think it was...
Yes, it is 2002.
Okay, I thought it was 2003, but yeah.
I think the DVD I have came out in 2003. Oh, because I think it came out like November of 2002, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it came out in theaters for a period of time.
Yeah, it had a theatrical run. It barely made its money back.
Yep.
Do you want me to explain what hot trash is for your listeners who may not have listened to?
That is a good question. Yes, go ahead, explain. What is hot trash?
So hot trash is basically a movie that you can ironically enjoy. So some people might call it so bad it's good, but something that's like sincerely trying to be a good movie and just utterly failing to the point where you can then enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't wait for it to talk Brandon to the show. It's going to be great. One day we're going to I'm going to go on a podcast, either Hot Trash Unlimited or Committed Critics. We're going to talk about Branded, the 2012 Russian film. It's amazing. The worst movie I've ever seen. But we're not talking about Brandon. We're talking about Jonah, Veggietales movie. So what are your guys' quick spoiler-free thoughts on Jonah, Veggietales movie, and rating it? Ryan, you want to go first?
Sure, why not? So I am a Veggietales fan. I had all the DVDs and everything, so I have a little bit of nostalgia with this. Rewatching it was a trip. But I did also watch a whole video on Big Idea Productions and this movie, how the budget problems made it go down and all that. But point being, I did enjoy this. It's something interesting. The elements of a plot are there, but it's not the best movie ever. Like, it's good for Veggietales standards. It's good for Veggietales standards, but for a film standards, it's a kids movie that doesn't. It tries. It tries. Yeah. I give it a 3.5. Oh,
no one questions that they're trying.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5, the 0.5 being for nostalgia, the 3 being for quality.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Caleb?
So like Ryan, I loved Veggietales as a kid. We had all the VHSs and then all the DVDs when they started coming out. I had all the toys. I went to see the Esther premiere at Lifeway Christian Resources
nice.
When they had it. And I remember this movie being a big event, going to the theater to see it. But looking back, it is not the thing from Veggietales that has stuck with me the most. It's kind of odd because of how much of a big deal it was and how in the narrative of Big Idea Productions, it's very important because it almost put them under. So it's weird that it didn't kind of stick with me. I think at this point, it's more interesting as like a relic of Christian pop culture than a standalone movie. I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've also been a fan of Veggietales since I was a little kid. I went to a Christian grade school back in the day, so we had regular screenings of Veggietales both in the classroom or like as the whole school as a whole. Grades 1 through 6 watching Veggietales. So then, but yeah, I think rewatching Jonah Veggietales movie now, which is such a huge deal back then, I believe. Yeah, so it was showing in theaters, but also in my town there was an event to watch at like Best Western Hotel or something. Just rent out a room and had a projector there. But it's weird to think that watching this now that there's a Veggietales property that we more focused on spectacle than its message. Which I'll get more into details when we talk about spoilers. But here we are. So I give this a 2 out of 5. It's it's interesting. Like you said, Caleb, it's an interesting relic of Christian pop culture. But it's, as a movie itself, it's just kind of like, I didn't have to watch it, but it's still a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on into our spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen Jonah Veggietales movie, go ahead. I guess it's free to watch on Tubi.
It's on archive.com. That's where I watched it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Or if you like me and still have the DVD from 2002, go ahead and use that.
I have the DVD, the 2-disc version. That's how I rewatched it.
I was like,
now I feel like a poser. I should have gone back to my parents' house and borrowed it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if you were watched VeggieTales as a kid, like, it's probably still in your DVD collection unless you're like it got tossed to Goodwill or something.
Nope.
But yeah, mine is like the previewed Blockbuster version. So I had the Blockbuster case and like the thick plastic cover that's kind of peeling off.
Nice.
I guess. Yeah.
Oh man,
it really looks like a used DVD. But diving into our spoiler talk, what is one thing you liked about Jonah, a VeggieTales movie? And yes, I will say the full title every time. Caleb, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah, sure. So I think the best thing about this is probably the best thing about any VeggieTales project is that the music is pretty solid. Despite not hearing these songs for, probably a decade and some change, I knew almost every word and was singing along with it. It was a great way to start the day watching it this morning.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like so like when the music started kicking in, I myself felt it like the music started and suddenly the lyrics just popped into my head. I'm like, I still remember these words.
And there's so
years.
much music. Like they are constantly singing.
Yeah.
But Nineveh, oh Nineveh, Nineveh is where I draw the line. Yeah, it's crazy. But what about you, Ryan? What's one thing you liked about Jonah a VeggieTales movie?
I didn't. The only thing I like about Jonah VeggieTales movie is surprisingly the only part that doesn't really focus on Jonah was the pirates who don't do anything.
Yeah,
because I loved the theme song they had as a kid, and then they were in this movie, and they're just comedy gold throughout the entire movie because it's literally just 3 bumbling idiots, and then they have a go fish battle to figure out who made God angry. Like, I don't know, it was great, and then the fishing scene. I prefer, if you're comparing the 2 VeggieTale movies that have ever existed, the 2 theatrical movies, Pirates Who Don't Do Anything definitely deserved a solo movie. So yes, I like that. Out of the Jonah movie, I like Pirates Who Don't Do Anything more than I like the actual story of Jonah.
So I didn't see the spin-off movie. Caleb, did you see it?
No, I think I had grown out of VeggieTales by that point. I do remember seeing concept art for it, and then it just never coming out. So I was actually kind of surprised when Ryan said it actually ended up being made.
There's a cyborg in it. It's great.
Now I have to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. New Hot Trash Unlimited episode.
They did a parody of Rock Lobster. It's something.
Oh wow. Yeah, I never saw it because I think just like Caleb, I by the time it came out, I was just kind of grown out of it. But yeah, I'll take your word on it, Ryan. I'll watch it at some point. One thing
I didn't say it was good. I just said it's something to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch indeed.
Listen, I have to prove my VeggieTales fan cred.
Exactly. You haven't seen the second VeggieTales movie? You're a fake fan. So one thing I liked about this is that I think the first half of the movie is good, but the first act in general is really solid. We're introduced to the kids, Bob and his friend. I'm totally blanking on his name because it's not his usual name. And then they meet the pirates that don't do anything. Then it's the cut to the flashback with Jonah was really solid as well, and really gets you to the tone, sets the tone for the Jonah story. But then and then we focus on Jonah, like it's a great first act, but literally once he starts no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go to Nineveh. And which is when we hit Act 2, that's when the story starts getting a little weird. But then when we get to the midpoint, which is in the whale, that's when the story kind of devolves. But more on that in a bit. But yeah, I really love the first act. But also, I'm not sure if you guys have listened to it. There's a commentary track with Larry and Mr. Lunt talking about the movie, and it is top tier comedy. Oh my gosh! Like if there's a lot of it is Veggietales breaking the fourth wall by making modern day pop culture references. Well, modern day as in like 2002, but like they even like mentioned like this is like, oh yeah, like Frederick Fellini and other like film cinema directors and Jim Carrey. Like they make a whole bunch of like pop culture references in there. It's amazing, and while dissing on the movie the whole time.
I have not seen this, and now I want to.
It's all in character. It's really great.
I feel like I have like a sense memory of that, so I must have seen it as a kid.
So the commentary track is on YouTube. I linked it here in the notes, and I have it linked in the description as well. But also, yeah, if you have it on DVD, I believe it's carried over to the Blu-ray as well. There's one of the 3 audio commentary options.
Why don't movies do that anymore? Like just a little audio commentary with the characters. Because Lion King 1.5 did it, and it was great. And Brother Bear.
Yeah, it just kind of, I don't know, it costs money to have those actors in there for a day, I guess. But
fair.
We'll bring it back, Ryan. Don't worry.
Please.
when we make big budget movies, we'll bring back the in character commentary. I think that'd just be fun for any movie, really.
I know, right?
But on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about one thing we didn't like and some of our final thoughts on Jonah, a Veggietales movie. See you back in a minute. Starting a podcast? Try a Podbean Unlimited hosting plan. It's what we use here at Committed Critics, giving us the opportunity to have our show on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and even Spotify. You can get your first month of unlimited hosting for free on us by going to podbean.com/committedcrits, just like our Twitter, or by clicking the link in the description. Podbean, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And welcome back to Committed Critics for our review of Jonah, a Veggietales movie. Came out in 2002 and has a sequel that we were recently looking over during the break called The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, the movie. We'll talk more about that at a later date. But for now, what's one thing you did not like about Jonah, a Veggietales movie? I think I can kick us off on this one by saying I think the second half of the movie just devolves. Like there's something about it's like once it hits we get to the whale, it just starts becoming more about the spectacle than the actual emotional journey of Jonah and the kids in the present day. It also raises a lot of questions like Ryan is about to ask.
Yeah, my question is: Are the pirates who don't do anything and Khalil the caterpillar just immortal? Because if this is taking place in Bible times, and we're here in the modern day, and they're telling the story, like what the hell?
It completely breaks the logic of Veggietales, because Veggietales is like the Muppet Show. It's a show being put on by the vegetables. But this is like, no, there is no diegetic performance. This is all real. Jonah became a pop star.
So I think this is still diegetically that, because it's still like this is a show put on by the vegetables. Like this is not real world Bob driving, because how are porcupines small, like it's small enough for a vegetable movie?
Well, my theory is because the pirates who don't do anything include time travel in it. What happened is the pirates traveled back in time with Twippo the music star and Khalil, stopped, did the whole Jonah story, then traveled back to the future.
There's time travel in the sequel?
Yes, there's time travel.
We've missed out on a lot, Kevin.
Yeah, we gotta watch this movie. So is Jonah reincarnated as Twippo? What are your thoughts on that?
Maybe. Honestly, it would make sense at this point. Although I guess Christianity doesn't really believe in reincarnation. So,
but what if this whole movie is technically a play put on by the Vegetables? It's just a big budget play they put on. So it's just whoever plays Twippo is just the same actor they played as for Jonah. But then at the end, where it's like, "Do I know you?" with Khalil, it's just like a fourth wall break, wink at the audience to end it. But like it's still within Veggietales canon, so to speak. But it's like this isn't like I said, this isn't real life Bob driving to the Twippo concert. This is still all a show, and the story of Jonah is a show within a show. If that makes sense.
Well, then that raises the question, why doesn't Khalil show up more? Because I'm pretty sure he only shows up in one silly song with Larry. So did he have a falling out with the cast of Veggietales?
He shows up in the Boys in the Sink thing, too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the only other time he shows up. So he's got to write a tell-all. Khalil's got to write a tell-all, and it's going to cancel all of our...
Maybe they did have a falling out because Khalil eats vegetables.
True.
He tried to kill one of them.
This movie establishes that there are non-sentient vegetables because they destroy a pumpkin at one point.
Yeah, that was what I thought was really weird.
Well, let's think. Khalil ate a leaf. He killed the tree and ate a leaf. So maybe after having that one bite of something green, he was like, "Man, vegetables taste good."
He took a bite out of someone. Or is there a vegetable that just it doesn't appear anymore?
We'll have to deep dive on that one.
Yeah, is Mr. Lunt still around?
Is Madame Blueberry still around?
Yeah, well, they need Madame Blueberry because they only have so many female characters. Yeah, I feel like
5?
I feel like Mr. Lunt's expendable. He could be it. He could be the one who got eaten.
We'll have to see who's currently in the show right now, because they currently have a show that's broadcasting, right? Or did that?
No, we don't talk about that show. That show does not.
I mean,
exist.
That's true.
It's a shadow of what it once was.
Shadow being a very kind way of saying it's trash.
But since we're talking about Khalil, I'll get to my negative, which is that Khalil is wildly pointless in this movie.
Yep.
He just shows up. He looks creepy because he has a human mouth, which shouldn't be in Veggietales. And he, questionable depiction of a Middle Eastern individual. And then also
voiced by a white dude, I'm assuming.
I'm pretty sure it's Tim Hodge who voices him.
Yeah.
And it's he just never really affects the story besides eating the plant in any meaningful way. Even him being in the whale, I feel like you could cut him out and it would just make as much sense.
But what about those dance moves?
True. That is true. He
the
does
dance
bust
moves
a move.
he does in the whale.
Oh yeah.
Because since he has arms, he can actually do one of those moves that the veggies can't do.
It feels like they just added him because they wanted a character unique to the film. And I think that's honestly why he almost never shows up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was also
exclusive
extra comedic relief.
I feel like you could just bump up the pirates to make up for that if you cut him out though.
Exactly. Have one of the pirates listen to self-motivational tapes. You could easily do that. Khalil, I think he's funny in the first half, but then once again, once we get to the midpoint, it's just he's not funny anymore. And like you said, Caleb, he doesn't really do anything to the story dramatically because the most dramatic part that Khalil does is paired with the camel. So the camel would have the same effect when they walk away from Jonah towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, but the camel can't talk, so they were like, "Hey, let's
they
make
can make
the
the camel talk."
They made a
that
word
would be
talk.
Breaking the story.
Exactly. They made vegetables talk.
It raises so many questions.
Okay, so and also how are fish the size of vegetables too? What fish are they? Well, I guess you got minnows or something they could have used. That's a pretty small whale though.
Yeah. They were able to. They tried to fish it.
Try being the operative word there.
He shot a bowling ball at it.
which is how
Also-
we get, which is a really weird way to get like Khalil into the whale. I think.
The Jonah the Veggietales video game was great with that fighting the whale scene.
Was there a video game?
There was a PC game. I remember having it. My favorite one was fighting the whale off because you had to like get the right stuff to shoot at it, and the bowling ball did obviously the most damage or something. I can't remember the exact stuff of it. They had that. They had like the Cheese Wizards game or something. It was a whole lot.
I didn't have the video game, but I did have the cards they play Go Fish with. I did have one of those deck of cards.
Oh, yeah. The only VeggieTales game I knew about was Larry Boy and the Bad Apple. I had that on PS2 and Game Boy.
For the record, Khalil does show up in other VeggieTales things besides Jonah. He shows up at the beginning of the Sumo the Opera episode. Shows up in a Boys in the Sink episode, and several Boys in the Sink songs, and he's in the new show where he just plays music in the orchestra pit.
Wait, there's was more than one Boys in the Sink song?
That's what I was thinking too.
That's what apparently they're saying. It says a reoccurring role in the Boys in the Sink silly song, so I guess there was more than one.
Well, there has to be because there's a Boys in the Sink album, right?
Yeah, there is. I have the album. Like I said, I was a VeggieTales super fan. What do you want from me?
Man, I wish I had it aged out when I did, because I think I missed some VeggieTales gold.
The golden age of VeggieTales, right before the fall. But yeah, so one question I want to raise for mostly for part with Caleb is, do you consider Jonah a VeggieTales movie hot trash?
No, so I don't think it is, and my nostalgia could be clouding me here, so I want to preface my opinion with that. But I think that while it does lose steam in the middle and definitely has a very bizarre ending, the humor and the music are too solid to call it hot trash. And while the animation isn't spectacular, I think it's clear that they are doing as much as they possibly can.
How about you, Ryan?
I kind of feel that same. Like it definitely, again, as Caleb said, nostalgia, but like it definitely lost the steam at the end. It could have been a whole lot worse. Like the fact that it's sad that it didn't make its budget back, because it is a solid kids movie. Like, and I know my parents, even my parents, enjoyed watching this when I was younger, but it's not hot trash. It's just very much there. It's not trash. It's compost. Let's say compost.
It's present. It
Recyclable
exists.
compost.
It's recyclable. You can still use it. It won't be perfect, but you can still use it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the first half is legitimately great, but then the second half is kind of like, I consider it lukewarm trash, if trash at all. It's just, but like as a whole, it's like you said, Ryan. I think you said it best. It's just compost, recyclable compost, and it's not good nor bad. It's just kind of there, but we can always reuse it for better purposes, like a spin-off, maybe, hopefully.
We'll see.
Oh man! But Caleb, before we end the show, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Caleb from the Real World, and on Letterboxd at The Myth King. And from there, you can find all of my podcasts: Star Wars Therapy, where we talk about Star Wars, unsurprisingly; All New 52, where we talk about comic books; The Stub Club, where we talk about Oscar movies; and Hot Trash Unlimited, which we will have a episode out soon with Ryan and Kevin about the sequel, which we didn't know existed. What's it called? Was it just Pirates Who Don't Do Anything?
The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, the movie, I think.
All right, I'm excited.
It's official now. So be sure to tune in next week also when Caleb returns. We'll have our friend Danny Vincent on to talk about Hadestown. More on that next week. But right now, you can follow us on Twitter at Committed Crits. That's COMMITTED. Yeah, COMMITTEDCRITS. You can follow us on YouTube, spelled the same there as here everywhere else, Committed Critics. You can support us on Patreon in the link below. Special thanks to our current patrons, Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics and Ryan Kolakowski from Ryan Plays Drums. Special thanks to our sound engineer, Jordan Smearman, and we will see you next week when we talk about Hadestown. Bye-bye.